So it's been a minute since we did a desk setup tour on this channel, especially an iPad Pro setup. I put together a really clean one for you guys and hopefully it will give you some inspiration for yours. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants them.
Hey, what's up guys? It's great to see you all again. And if you're new here, I'm Patrick and this is where I ramble about tech and other stuff. So let's start with the thing that holds everything together, and that is of course the desk. This is a sit-stand desk by FlexiSpot. It's the FlexiSpot E7 to be exact, and this thing is great. Now, I do most of my day-to-day work at this massive desk that I made out of 2 IKEA drawers and a kitchen countertop. It's kind of the YouTube special these days, but anyway. I've always been interested in one of these motorized standing desks, more so because I have a pretty bad lower back, which means I get back pains quite easily, and both my daytime business and YouTube require me to sit down a lot, so that's a problem. So being able to work standing up every now and then can really help alleviate that stress. So when FlexiSpot approached me to test their E7 desk, I was pretty excited, and I'm happy to say that it does not disappoint. I absolutely love it, and it really does do wonders for my back. It's very easy to put together. On their website, you can choose from a bunch of different tabletops. I picked this one because it looks nice and clean. Cable management is definitely not my strong suit, but this desk makes it easy because it has built-in cable management. As you can see, I have most of my cables neatly tucked away, and I attached a simple surge protector with some Velcro strips so I can power a few more things. That way, only one cable goes into my wall, and I'm thinking about getting a black cable sleeve so you won't really even see that one. The mechanism is straightforward. It has dual motors that can hold up to 125 kilograms. It ranges from 60 centimeters to 126 centimeters, which is 24 to about 50 inches, give or take. The panel is also super easy to control. You've got your up and your down buttons, your memory button, which you can use to program these buttons here, so the desk can automatically go to your ideal sit or stand height at the push of a button. The memory button also serves as a lock, and I would advise you to use the button because I was filming myself at this desk not too long ago and I accidentally hit the stand button, which almost threw over my C stand with all my camera equipment attached. That would have been a disaster, but it does attest to the strength of the motors. All in all, I would definitely recommend this desk. It is not the cheapest you can find, but in my opinion, you don't want to cheap out on a desk like that and end up with weaker motors. If you're lucky enough to see this video on time, FlexiSpot informed me that they are having their biggest Black Friday sale this November 18 to 24. So if you're interested in picking up one of these desks, that might be a very good time to do so. Links in the description. The chair I use is the HAG Capisco, and it's a bit of a strange one to look at, but it's really great for me. I can't really sit still all that well, and this chair allows me to switch positions all the time. It's also height adjustable to a pretty high point, so I can use it as a stool for my standing desk, just to switch things up a little bit. It's expensive, but I spend most of my day in my desk chair, so investing in a good chair is kind of a no-brainer to me. So let's have a look at what we have on top of the desk. Obviously, the driving force is this 12.9-inch M1 iPad Pro. I don't think this tablet needs an introduction. If you do want to know more about it, there's lots of content on the iPad Pro on this channel if you're interested, which by the way would be a great reason for you to subscribe. I upload about twice a week, so plenty of fresh content coming your way. Anyway, because this iPad has a Thunderbolt/USB-C port, you can hook up pretty much anything to it. But of course, it only has the one port, so the one thing I will always recommend to anyone is to invest in a good hub. There are plenty of USB-C hubs out there, but not so many Thunderbolt hubs. I prefer using one of those because it allows me to hook up my Thunderbolt accessories as well as all of my USB stuff. And it's powered, which is necessary for a number of accessories, as well as keeping the iPad Pro powered while using the hub. This one is by Anker. I use the exact same one with my Mac Mini at my main desk, and I loved it so much that I bought a second one for my iPad Pro. 9 out of 10. Why 9? Because I absolutely hate having the mother connection on the front. I would have rather had a slightly wider frame and have this thing on the backside with the other ports, because now that cable is just always there and it makes my OCD explode. On the contrary, I do like the USB-A port on the front for quick temporary access for thumb drives and stuff. Hooked up to this thing are currently this Shure MV7 USB mic, which I will get back to later, and this Pitaka Mag Easy desk stand. Why does that need to be powered, you might ask? Well, that's because the base of this stand doubles as a charging pad for your phone or whatever compatible device, and that is super useful. So I got my iPad charging via the Thunderbolt dock, and my iPhone is charging on the Pitaka stand. So whenever I want to head out, I can just grab both of my devices and they'll always be fully charged. And yes, I said grab my devices because the beauty of the Pitaka Mag Easy stand is that it works with the Pitaka Mag Easy cover, which stays on my iPad most of the time. It has super strong magnets built in that keep it firmly attached to the stand. You can even pivot the stand to portrait mode, which comes in handy, and when I leave my office, I just grab it and stick it to my Magic Keyboard, case and all. To prevent the Thunderbolt cable from flopping around when I take the iPad off, I attach 2 adhesive cable clips from Amazon, so the cable stays right where it is and ready to be plugged in again when I get back. Now, the shelf stand sitting on top of my desk is one of my favorite parts of this desk. It is the Grove-made walnut desk shelf. I have the exact same one on my other desk because it's just so useful and it looks beautiful. Plus, most importantly, it puts my iPad exactly at eye level. The stand helps, but it's still quite low, so combined with the shelf, it's perfect. It gives me a bit of extra space and it keeps certain things off my desk. Plus, it also has this little drawer here that I'm actually using for cable management. Any small cables I have to run through the back are stuffed in there, out of sight. The larger space underneath the shelf is ideal to store my keyboard and trackpad when I don't need it, so I can use the desk space for other things like note-taking. And for that, I don't use pen and paper anymore, nope. I use my little iPad mini 6, which if I'm being totally honest with you guys, is currently my favorite iPad. If you're a regular on the channel, you probably heard me declare my undying love to this thing already, and if you're not and you like iPads, I invite you to have a browse. There's quite a few videos on the channel, specifically on the iPad mini. I just think it's the perfect size for things like note-taking, and with this smart folio cover attached, it even looks like a notepad. The color of the folio is electric orange, in case you're wondering. I obviously use the Apple Pencil 2 to take my notes, which is great because all I have to do to switch between iPads is snap it onto the Pro and boom. Paired. This little rubber nib is made by a company called Pen Tips. They make these cool, colorful tips and other accessories for iPad note-taking. You can even create a custom pack on their website. And of course, I use these nibs in conjunction with my trusty old paper-like screen protector, which is now finally shipping for the iPad mini 6 as well. Links to Pen Tips and Paperlike in the description. In front of the desk shelf, you see a couple of things. One is this nice merino wool mat and this sleek-looking dock for my Magic Trackpad. Both are made by Grove-made, so it's not a coincidence that these perfectly match with a shelf. I like using the trackpad rather than a mouse because it lets you mimic most of the gestures you can do on the iPad screen itself, which emulates the swiping feeling even though you're using the iPad on a stand. At first glance, this keyboard might look like it's made by Apple, but it's not. This is the Vissels LP85 Mac Style mechanical keyboard. That's a mouthful. And as the name suggests, this keyboard is geared towards Mac users and therefore also makes it perfect for use with the iPad Pro. A little while ago, I featured another mechanical keyboard by Vissels in one of my iPad Pro accessories videos, and that was pretty much the first mechanical keyboard I ever used and actually liked. I'm so used to the Apple Magic Keyboard, which as you know has very shallow key travel, so migrating to a full mechanical keyboard is quite the switch. Pun very much intended. Now, for people like me, Vissels' newest keyboard is just perfect. It has the form factor that will look very familiar to a Mac user, but with the benefits of a mechanical keyboard. It's slightly wider than the Apple Magic Keyboard, but that's because there is an extra row of keys on the right side. The biggest difference is of course the typing experience. For most people, mechanical keyboards are a matter of you either hate it or you love it. But I really think that this is such a cool in-betweener that it would be the perfect first mechanical keyboard for those who have been curious about using one. There's something satisfying about the clicky typing sounds and the longer key travel. Probably not so much for the people around you, so I guess this is best suited for a solo office. At half a kilogram, which is a little over 1 pound, this probably isn't going to be your ultra portable travel keyboard, but it does make it the perfect desk setup because this thing isn't going anywhere. It has a Bluetooth and a wired mode. You can use it with both Mac and Windows configurations. It has optical switches, and for you RGB lovers, it has 19 modes of dynamic backlighting and 7 monochrome ones. Oh, and you can easily switch between 3 devices, so you can hook this up to your iPad, your iPhone, and your Mac, and use it all at the same time. It's currently available on Kickstarter, and if you're one of the early birds, you can scoop it up for less than the price of a Magic Keyboard and with all the added functionality. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. Now, one of Apple's recent improvements for the iPad has been center stage, which means you can have a video conference in landscape mode, but because the camera software keeps you centered, it actually looks semi-decent. Plus, with this Pitaka stand, you can even do this and use it in portrait mode. Anyway, if we're gonna look the part, we also wanna sound good. And that's where the amazing Shure MV7 comes in. If you know anything about microphones, you have obviously heard about its big brother, the Shure SM7B, which is considered the industry standard for podcasting, radio, and even for vocals. This MV7 is basically its smaller, less expensive brother with one massive advantage: USB-C. Sure, you can use this as an XLR microphone if you do have a preamp, but because of its USB connection, you can run it straight into your iPad, and I guarantee you'll be the best sounding person on the video call. Or maybe you want to start a podcast, all you need is your iPad, this mic, and a voice recording app like Ferrite, and you're set. The mic is attached to the Yeti Blue Compass. Now, I've tried a lot of boom arms. I used to have the Rode PSA-1 attached to my desk, but I find that this looks much cleaner. It has a very nice system to run your cable, and it's super easy to attach to your desk, and even when you're not using it, it still looks dope. Can recommend if you like to keep your setup looking very clean. If you're in a noisy environment, maybe you're sharing an office or the kids are in the other room, a good pair of headphones is of course essential. I'm using the Sony XM4s mainly because of their amazing noise cancellation, but also because they can be used via Bluetooth or a connected cable, which can come in very handy for things like video editing where you really can't afford even the slightest bit of latency. And of course, it's resting on this beautiful walnut headphone stand by, you guessed it, Grovemade. Hey, what can I say? I like their stuff. Guys, if you liked the video, please give it one of these. It really does help the channel. Subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.